Back in 2021, I bought a BMW M3 for $21,000 and it completely changed my life. My mindset went from scarcity and being someone who was afraid to spend a dollar to make money, insecure in himself as I was starting my business back up in the US, going door to door selling consulting services to auto repair shops. And when I went from a 2002 Acura TL and a 1999 F250 to this 2009 BMW M3, I changed my mind. I became much more confident. I became much more self-assured, but I also had a certain pressure on myself that I knew that I needed to earn that car. And today, I want to talk through several different examples of roughly $20,000 starter dream cars that you can buy to achieve the exact same mindset shift that I did. Let's get to the video. What is this $20,000 dream car supposed to represent in your life? You probably have some idea of the next aspirational car that you want. Maybe you already have something cool, or maybe you're driving the hand-me-down that your parents got you. But if you're a car enthusiast and you are aspirational about your career or your entrepreneurial journey, whatever you want to accomplish with your money-making life, then this video is for you, because what I want to do is give you inspiration for getting from where you're at today in your automotive ownership life into your first dream car that pushes you to achieve more in your life. Essentially, that is what that M3 did for me. When I sat in the driver's seat, it felt like a special place to be. And it felt like something that when I told people what I drove, I could be proud of it. When I pointed in the parking lot and said, "That's my car," I could be proud of it. And I knew that people would recognize that I owned something that I cared about and that mattered. That level of confidence that you can grow into if you buy a car like this is so tangibly effective to changing your day-to-day behavior that I created an entire coaching program around it. And the Dream Car Accelerator program, if you're interested, is something that you can email me to apply for. Go to arun@wearedriven.com and send me an email telling me what you do to make money and what kind of cars fall on your list. And we'll see if you're a good fit to go through this 4-week coaching intensive. Now, this video is basically a list of cars that I think fit into this category of being special, being recognized, being aspirational, and being something that multiple generations can appreciate. And for some reason, that mattered in my head when I was making this video. And I think what it comes down to is that we all have other people in our lives that we want to make proud. And when you get to do that over multiple generations with a car that you buy, you see all these videos of 20-something-year-olds buying their dad the car that their dad always wanted. That's awesome, right? Like, that is exactly what we are all aspiring to if you are an aspirational car enthusiast, if you're driven. It has to mean something, even if it's the car you're buying for yourself, it has to mean something for those other family members as well to give you the sort of validation that you want across multiple generations. I tried to break this down into a few different categories of cars depending on what you're most into. I probably missed some stuff. You probably disagree. Leave a comment below if you feel that way, and I want to hear from you about what you'd change, do differently, because I think it's a worthwhile conversation for all of us to be having if you're driven. So here's the list. First, I want to talk about SUVs, and I specifically want to talk about late L322 Range Rovers and early L405 Range Rovers. These are cars that ooze luxury, that have a status about them, that have some notorious reputation, but that also have a pretty good cult following in the enthusiast community that can give you the sort of reputational recognition that you're looking for, in addition to being very good at giving you that special feeling that you're after. You have to get one that is a really, really high spec. You have to get an autobiography with the supercharged V8 L322, a supercharged V8 L405 with every single box checked on the option list. Those early L405s have a lot of known problems. A lot of them were exported. It's hard to find one in the 20 grand range unless it's really rough, but I put it on this list anyways because as they continue to depreciate, these cars will become a really good fit if they are in good condition for this list. Think about the level of luxury that you're gonna feel if you pull up somewhere in your Range Rover. This has everything you need to be that first dream car that really pushes you to achieve more. Not to mention, if you do get hit with some crazy repair bill, you need to be able to afford that too. So your income has to keep growing if you have a Range Rover. The other SUV I put on this list is the Land Cruiser. And I don't really care what generation you go after. Some are more expensive, some are less expensive. But overall, the Land Cruiser fits into this really special category for certain enthusiasts, more focused on off-roading. It is such a aspirational, top of the range, top of the food chain sort of a truck. And it really does fit this dream car ethos really well, where you get in that thing and you feel special because it is what you always wanted. You have some little 4Runner or a Geo Tracker or whatever else right now, and you're up to a Land Cruiser, and it is this thing that can cruise the road, and it gives you that feeling that you are at the top, you've made it, and you have that pressure to continue to grow from here because, yeah, you bought that Land Cruiser, but now you know about resto-modded Land Cruisers. Now you know about that other one that is a different generation that maybe has some features that the current one doesn't have that you need to go get. Maybe you want one with lower miles. There are so many things that make Land Cruisers cool that you are going to get into this mess of a world where you can continue to ladder your way up in big, old, luxury, off-road, heavy-duty, rugged SUVs, and that is a very cool place to be. All right, next, we are getting into high-performance cars, and I want to talk specifically about cars with big power. The first one, CTS-Vs. The ones that are going to hit that $20,000 mark are V1s, so you're looking at the mid-2000s, first-generation CTS-V, probably in an automatic, although some of those are going to be even cheaper and probably a bit beat up. So you can get a decent one for 20 grand that fits into this category because it is, number one, a Cadillac. You will get into it and it won't just feel like another Charger, Mustang, or any of these other sort of muscle car things like that. It actually is going to feel a little bit more special because of that Cadillac badge on the steering wheel, and you have all the power that you could ever want. You're getting basically the top of the range from one respect, if you look at muscle cars as a whole, but the bottom of the range as far as Cadillac muscle cars. You can get a V Blackwing today and you're gonna spend upwards of $75,000, but you're gonna get way more power. You're gonna get way better styling, in my opinion, much newer car, better tech, lower miles, better condition, everything that you could need in order to aspire to something significantly greater, but still very comparable to what you're getting yourself into today. Now, the other high performance car that I want to talk about is going to be the most cliche thing on this list, and it's an M3 or an M5. I got an M3 that fit exactly into this category, so I had to mention it, but I know that so many people have gone this route. You get a little bit of money and you go finance the hell out of an F80 or a G80 or an F90 or a G90 and you mod it like crazy on your credit cards. You are going to be just like every other person. And that's kind of the problem, is there's so many people that have gone that route now that it's a little overplayed. And so you do have to be kind of specific with what you want. And I wasn't specific, and I did go for the previous generation. Back in 2021, I went for an E90 M3. Because of that, it was a little bit more special. It was the one that I always wanted, but you do have to really make sure that you land in something that gives you more recognition than just like, yeah, I drive an F80. Yes, they're sick, don't get me wrong, but everybody has one. And if you want to really stand out, if you want to be in that position where you point in the parking lot and people recognize that you have something that is cool, that puts pressure on your status, that puts pressure on your earning capability, you can't just do what everybody else is doing. The M5 is going to do that to a greater degree, But in any case, both of these cars are now really hard to be had for 20 grand in any kind of good condition. You would potentially look at an E46 M3 at 20 grand, but at that point, it's too old. It doesn't have the luxury. It doesn't have that same clout. Let's talk about trucks. You're gonna be able to get an old diesel truck in this $20,000 range. You're gonna get a pre-def, something that rattles the ground from a diesel perspective. Newer diesels are very refined. Newer diesels are a lot faster, they're more powerful, but the older ones do have a certain level of pressure that you're gonna put on yourself. When I bought my 7.3, I also felt a little bit of this. Like my identity shifted a little bit when I got my 7.3 Power Stroke, because you get a different kind of experience when you get your first diesel. And I do think that goes a very long way in shifting your identity, but more importantly, if you're a truck guy and you haven't already gotten into an old diesel at that $20,000 price point, you either have something really beat up that is a diesel, or you have some sort of gas truck that doesn't do what a diesel does. There's so many things that a diesel can do that a gas truck cannot do. Predominantly the smell, the sound, and the torque. And with those three things, you will change the way you feel getting into your truck and turning it on, where that little glow plug light on the dash, you gotta wait for it to go out before you start. Once it starts, you've got the rattle. You've potentially started to get rolling coal. You're doing the things that you need to do with that truck in order to feel like you have pressure on yourself to work harder. And frankly, that's what a diesel truck represents. On the other hand, if you aren't feeling blue collar, but you still want trucks, then you're gonna get a newer half-ton truck that is aimed at performance. And there's tons of these out there now where you can get a regular cab, short bed, four-wheel drive, Ford or Chevy that has the level of performance that you want in order to blow the doors off of anybody and look cool and command respect in the process. That's a really cool place to be, but also what it represents is a step up from where you're at today. Whatever you're driving now, getting something like that is going to increase your confidence because it's something that you know has recognition in the community that you care about, and that matters. In addition, if you want to chase performance numbers, you're going to have to make more money in order to be able to afford all that. And I know you do because you're listening to this part of the video. You will have to go earn more money to get the supercharger or the twin turbo setup that you want. Drop it the way you want, get the welds and the freaking drag radials and whatever else that you're gonna put on this truck to keep it moving fast. All right, now I've got three kind of off the wall sports cars that I wanna talk about. And these are interesting because yes, they still fit in the specialness, the recognition, the pressure elements of this dream car that we're after, but they do it in a bit of a different way than everything I've listed so far. But they're worth talking about as worthy alternatives to the traditional ones that really fit in what I think about when I think about dream cars. And I know I'm missing a fair amount of people if I don't mention cars like this. So first, hot hatchbacks. The Golf R. You can get the best performance hot hatchback on offer in the US in the last 10 years for 20 grand. That's going to be a gateway drug into some sort of cool car in the future for you that you can go one of two ways with. A hot hatch does two things really well. It has a lot of power and it has a lot of handling, and it can be this zippy little fun thing, but a lot of them being European cars also have that straight line speed component. And being a wagon in a way, you can kind of go down two different paths after having a hot hatch. And so it's a great starter dream car for this purpose. You can go down the high performance luxury wagon V8 market after this, or you can go down the sports car market and get cars with really good handling characteristics. But in either case, you're going straight to the top of the food chain with the best hot hatch that's been on offer in North America in the last 10 years for 20 grand. And so that's a great place to be. The next one, and this is a bit of an obvious slam dunk, is an S2000. An S2000 is a very unique, very well built car that you can get anywhere from 10 to 50 grand and higher, depending on how rare your car is. And they are very easy to find, but they're all going to fit this category of recognizable. They're going to put pressure on you because you're going to get in this car and realize you want something more. And they are also going to be special in the meantime. You get to drive an exciting drop top, good handling, high revving, fun car that you can take on the canyon runs, do everything you want to do with it. and get that really special experience that pushes you to the next level, because you want to do all the modifications, you want to do all the performance upgrades, you feel like it's missing certain things, you're going to want to keep going upwards from there. And lastly, the final car on this list of $20,000 dream cars that suit the starter dream car pack is a weird one. This is a weird one that I'm probably going to disagree with. I'd be curious what you think, but I thought it fit on this list, and it is a Jaguar F-Type. Yeah, even my video guy is like, nah, I don't know about that one. So here's why. Here's why I think the F-Type fits on this list. When I was in London in 2020, right before COVID started, I got a supercar experience from my wife for Christmas, and I used it to go to an airport in the outskirts of London and drive an F-Type SVR, supercharged V8, 600 horsepower, badass little sports car. It was as special as I could ever want. It was very cool, but that's not what you're getting for 20 grand. You can totally get a lot of F-Types for 20 grand, but they are going to be a car that meets the specialness because they are a luxurious sports car. They meet the recognition because they look really damn good. And people are going to either go, wow, you have an F-Type, that's a tasteful car, or they're going to go, what is that? I don't recognize what that is. And you get to tell them. But lastly, they meet that pressure criteria as well, because you can't afford a good one and they aren't going to last. They're not necessarily reliable cars. Jaguar as a brand is definitely up against the ropes right now. And so you have a limited amount of time to go enjoy an F-Type and really get the most out of it from your type of ownership experience, but you will definitely want the next thing up from an F-Type afterwards. So how did I do on my list? You meet all these criteria: recognition, specialness, and pressure. That's what it takes to fit a dream car onto this list. And I just gave you a bunch of different options for 20 grand. What are you gonna go get next? Let me know in the comments below. Get subscribed if you're not, and stay driven.